It is important to note that unauthorized persons must refrain from accessing protected areas under the Protected Areas Act.
Now, with less than 24 hours to the much-anticipated nationwide protest scheduled for June 25th, tension is building across Kenya. Security agencies have been deployed in large numbers as the country braces for what could be one of the largest mass action seen in recent years. In the capital, Nairobi, the atmosphere is already charged. Statehouse and Parliament have been completely sealed off, with police cordons stretched across all access points. Water cannons, police trucks and anti-riot gear are already in place. Heavily armed officers from the General Service Unit (GSU) and Administration Police, and even units from the Kenya Defence Forces have been positioned to secure key installations. The message from the state is clear: it is preparing for the worst. The protest, being largely led by Gen Z youth and other young people from across the country, is not just any protest. It marks exactly 1 year since the deadly June 25th, 2024 demonstrations, where several young Kenyans were shot and killed by police in what human rights groups described as one of the darkest days in recent memory. The organizers of this year's protests say their main goal is to honor those who died during last year's demonstrations. Many of them were victims of police brutality, but this time, the protests also carry a sharper political edge. Anger towards President William Ruto's government has been mounting for months, with many young people accusing the administration of failing to listen to their cries and of using force to silence dissent.
You cannot use force against the police, or insult, or threaten the police. You are threatening our nation, because these are our frontline defenders.
In recent weeks, online mobilization has reached new heights, with thousands of youth using social media platforms like TikTok, X, and Instagram to coordinate protest plans. Hashtags calling for justice and demanding the president's resignation have been trending almost daily. The mood is defiant and determined.
The public is also urged to refrain from provocative acts directed to police officers in the execution of their duties.
In Nairobi, residents are already reporting a noticeable increase in police patrols. Businesses in the Central Business District are preparing for disruptions, with many planning to remain closed on Wednesday. Similar scenes are playing out in Kisumu, Mombasa, Eldoret, and Nakuru, and other major towns. In all these places, young people have vowed to come out in large numbers, regardless of the threats or risks.
It is only in Kenya where a citizen will say they will invade parliament, they will invade the judiciary, they will visit Statehouse, and they still walk scot-free, not charged, and even when they are taken to court, Your Excellency, they will be released on, and they are told you can just go home for free.
There is growing concern that the protest may spiral into chaos, especially with protesters threatening to storm Statehouse and Parliament. These are two of the most heavily guarded institutions in the country, and any attempt to breach them is likely to be met with force, a possibility that has human rights defenders on edge. In response, the international community has issued strong statements calling on the Kenyan government to respect the rights of its citizens to protest. Diplomatic missions and human rights organizations have warned the state against using excessive force and have urged authorities to allow peaceful demonstrations. But the government is walking a tightrope. On one hand, it wants to avoid a repeat of last year's deadly crackdown, which drew sharp criticism both locally and internationally. On the other hand, it is clearly unwilling to allow protesters anywhere near the country's most sensitive political buildings. This protest comes at a time when public trust in government is at one of the lowest points. Unemployment, rising cost of living, and allegations of corruption have all contributed to growing frustration among the youth. Many feel abandoned by leaders who promised change but delivered a little. Last year's killings only deepened this anger. The protest movement has grown organically without a central leadership. This has made it difficult for the government to contain or negotiate with anyone. While the decentralized structure has made the movement unpredictable, it has also made it powerful. Every protester sees themselves itself as a leader. Every voice matters, and every life lost last year is being remembered. The coming hours will be critical. Whether the protests remain peaceful or turn violent will depend largely on how the police respond. Any sign of provocation or use of force could quickly escalate the situation. On the other hand, a calm and restrained approach could help lower the temperature.
Fellow Kenyans and dear Nairobians, as we mark the first anniversary of the Gen Z protests, I would like to affirm the Nairobi City County Government's support for the constitutional right to peaceful assembly. The voices of our people are powerful and are important in shaping the future of our city and the future of our nation. We recognize the energy, the passion, and the civic engagement demonstrated. And I stand with all of you in this right of lawful and peaceful expression. I urge all participants to abide by the law and to safeguard lives.
For now, Kenyans are watching and waiting, some with hope, others with fear. But one thing is clear, June 25th will not be an ordinary day. It will be a day of remembrance, resistance and reckoning. And whatever happens, it will likely leave a lasting mark on the country's political landscape.
Kwa hivyo kama watu wanataka kufanya maandamano, sheria nasema kwanza unapatia serikali notisi. Ati sisi tunataka kufanya maandamano siku fulani, tutafanya maandamano kutoka hapa mpaka hapa, mnakubaliana? Alafu polisi kazi yao ni kwenda kulinda nchi, kulinda wale ambao wanaandamana na kuhakikisha kwamba wasiharibu mali ya watu wengine.